All right, show me the money. NFL picks for week number 3 are here on the podcast. We are cruising through September here, and with me today to make his picks, returning to the podcast after his debut last season, member of the Hitmen summer and fall softball team, Mike Kelly's here. Mike, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Pretty good. I see you got your Jets gear all set. But it looks like you're ready to go for Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm not gonna wash it either. We gotta keep the luck on it. You know what I'm saying? No, that's disgusting. I'll wash it. Yeah, I can't wait. Very, very excited.
Yeah, because obviously I don't know how much you watched on Sunday with Tennessee, the Tennessee game here. Like there were points in that game where I was ready to just like throw stuff at the TV, like, oh great, this is gonna be another lost season. And then, they just kind of, got some assistance from Will Levis stupidity. They made some big plays. Aaron Rodgers made some good drives, and all of a sudden they won. So what's your big takeaway from the Titan game?
Um, this hungry defense was not so hungry. They looked pretty satiated in that first half. They didn't want to get after it. Sauce Gardner, that was probably his worst game of his career, if we're
Yeah.
being 100% honest.
Oh yeah, you got ripped to
Um,
shreds.
losing Jermaine Johnson is going to be a huge hit. They got to figure out something with Hassan Reddick now. It was ugly. The first half was incredibly ugly. The offense couldn't get anything going. Brees looked like he was being contained again, like one of the worst games of his career, off to a horrible start for the season, I would say. Um, and then and then they rallied. They make their own luck in the second half. They get after Will Levis. He makes a boneheaded play for the second week in a row. And this is the benefit of having a real quarterback, a real Aaron Rodgers on your football team. He can take that and manifest that into winning a football game, which is something that we've never seen. I've never seen as a Jets fan,
Yeah.
frankly. Like we don't ever win that game. We lose that game 17-10 in years past, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure here. It's something that's gonna be unusual here. We see a mutual friend of ours last night, like after our soft game, we talked about the Jet situation here. He mentioned to me, he's like, this is an unusual year, but that the Jets are gonna win with their offense more because Aaron Rodgers, we've seen flashes of it, like he's shaking rust off. He hasn't really played in 2 full years. So how crazy is it gonna be like seeing that, the defense will have its issues, but the offense might be what the Jets need to get themselves going here this season.
I mean, it's an offensive football league, you know? Like offense does win games in today's NFL. Defense can hold teams, and you got to count on the offense to go out there and win the games for you. And how refreshing was it to see a roughing the passer? Like, yeah, that was the highlight of the whole game for me was when Aaron Rodgers got hands to his face, and we've seen other quarterbacks for the Jets get hit up high before, hit down low before, get hit dirty, and no calls, never a call. Finally, by some grace, we finally get these calls now, and that's a blessing. We're gonna see a lot of like as the season goes on to like Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball down the field. He's going to push the ball down the field. We're going to see defensive pass interferences. You know what I mean? So like we're going to get those calls as well too. It's going to be a different kind of Jets football. I will say I was very, very happy to see how Braylon Allen was featured in the offense. I think that as the season moves forward, they should feature him a lot more. You have this big bruising 6 foot, 200 and something pound running back. You got to use him. You got to use him for those short yardage situations. You got to hand him the rock and let him get to work. Um,
Yeah, you definitely got
I,
to use guys like that. And the thing that you like when you watch that game too is that like seeing some of the throws that Rodgers makes that no quarterback could just have had in the last like 20 years capable of making, aside from the one Brett Favre year when he was at before he tore his elbow up. I mean, like the throws he's making, like the dimes to Braylon Allen in the end zone, the Brees Hall
mhm.
play, like the deep shot to Mike Williams. Like there's a
The Mike Williams play that saved the game.
yep,
That was
yep.
a potentially game-saving throw.
Yeah, it's like
You know,
that's the kind of things we're not used to as Jet fans. We're used to like, oh my God, this is a tight defensive game. Can they just hold them to 10 points? We can somehow win 13-10. Like now, if the defense is a rough day and goes 17, you can still win the game.
yeah, and like a rough day giving up 17 really isn't like the roughest of all days. So I have faith. I have faith in this team. I have faith that things will go the right way this season. They got walked all over week one in a really tough matchup against San Francisco. That was probably the toughest matchup that they'll have all year. Um, I'm not really too concerned about it. I didn't put too much stock into it. I do think that they really have to figure out what's going on with the D line right now. Now that Johnson is for sure out, a
Yeah.
little bit of a breakout game maybe for McDonald, but we need the depth and we need to figure that out. And I'm not frankly very concerned about the secondary either. I think that Sauce had a bad game. Guys have bad games.
Yeah, no DJ Reed either. He was out that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And this incredible like amount of football we're getting in the first like 11 days of the season continues. The Jets now get another short week on Thursday. They get the Patriots coming to town. They finally snapped the losing streak last year. They won in Foxborough week 18. They have not won here against the Patriots. The infamous Eric Decker overtime touchdown after day after Christmas in 2015. So obviously this is not a vintage Patriot team. You would think the Jets should win this game, but what are you looking forward to tomorrow? What do you think the key of this game is?
This Patriots team is so confusing to me. They're so competitive. They feel like, and it's so annoying because we went from like the Patriots being the Death Star of the NFL for like 20 years. And now they're like the plucky underdog that can fight their way back into any game. And they beat the Bengals week one and they took the Seahawks to overtime. And I don't want the Patriots to be the plucky underdog. I don't want anybody to look at this team and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, they're a cool, fun story." No, 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 no. I want the Jets to go out there on Thursday, make a statement, say this AFC East is going to run through us, and we're going to go out and beat you, and then we're going to go out and try to beat the Bills and the Dolphins, and this is our AFC East now. And I really am hoping that they get off to a really hot start at home against this Patriots team. They haven't gotten off to hot starts in this solid regime, but I'm hoping that this could be the game where they go out there against the Jacoby Brissett led Patriots team and they handle their business early and they just keep on putting the whooping on them, a la Bill Belichick putting the whooping on us all those years and years and years and years.
Yeah, I think for me, the key to this whole game here is the run defense has not been a strength the first two games. If they can contain Ramondre Stevenson, I don't think New England's doing much on offense otherwise.
New England can't push the ball down the field otherwise. So I think that I would agree. I think that if they could stop the run, if they could stuff it up the middle, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, and the spread for that game as of recording time, Jets laying 6. I think you and I both agree we're not touching this game. I do not like betting the Thursday game unless it's like an absolute like slam dunk to me.
Yeah, and you never know what you're gonna get out of this Patriots team again. So I'm not hands off.
Yeah, hands off that game, and we'll get into why you're here. As we review the picks for the week here. So we had my buddy Phil Lombardo came on the podcast last week. He did some picks. I'm gonna go ahead here and share the screen for the YouTube viewers. Mike Phillips on YouTube. You want to check out what's going on here with these picks, and it was not a fun week for Phil on the pod. He went 0-3. He had the Ravens laying the 9.5 points. They had that number cover at points in the game. They ended up losing outright, and that pissed me off and knocked me out of the knockout pool. Yeah, the Niners laying 5.5, and Mike, they lost outright. You know they've not won in Minnesota since 1992.
Really?
Yes, real. That's the thing.
That's crazy.
Steve Young was the quarterback the last time the 49ers won in Minnesota.
That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. And he had the Texans laying a 6.5. They lost they covered, and they won by 6. They didn't cover. So that was a bad break for Phil.
That's a tough beat.
Yeah. I went 2-1 last week. I was with them on the Texans. I love that play. Did not work out for me. But my two dogs, I had the Browns getting the 4 in Jacksonville. They went outright. I had the Bucks getting 7. It was my best bet of the week. They won that one outright as well in Detroit. So 2-1 last week. On the year, team challengers 2-4. I'm 4-1-1. I pushed on the Colts week 1.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Let's see if we can keep it up here.
Yeah.
So, as the guest, you can go first here. Where are you gonna go with pick number 1?
All right. Pick number one. I got the Bucks. That Bucks team. They're going to Denver. They're -7. And I think that the Bucks are the real deal this year. I think that the NFC South is actually kind of a good division now. The Bucks, Bo Nix is terrible. The kid can't seem to get it together. I like even his post game interview. It gave like it was like they asked him to explain an interception, and he was like, "I threw the ball to the other team." Like next go, like no accountability over there. It's terrible. Their defense is good, but their offense is woefully bad. They're 30th in the league in points per game, 29th in yards per game, 32nd in red zone scoring. They're not going to get anything going against this Bucks team. That offense on the Bucks is way too good. Pat Surtain can't cover Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. The run defense for the Broncos is pretty good. I don't really see like Rashad White getting like too bottled up, especially like if they're gonna spread out the offense and spread the ball around. The spread is -7. I'd take it if it was -10. Like I really think that this is going to be a trouncing by Tampa Bay over Denver.
Yeah, I added 6.5, so that's why I have it on the board as here. And I think this is a game here where like I've been on the Bucks all year. I said in the preseason over under, I said this is a team's not getting enough respect. They're 2-0 good. They should be going to 3-0 pretty easily. This Denver team's not good, as you said.
Hmm.
Where are you going pick two, Mike?
Pick two. I'm going Saints -2.5 over the Eagles. I don't think the Saints are pretenders. I'm not fully convinced yet. I mean, they beat the Panthers. Everybody beats the Panthers, and they did go to Dallas and they handled their business against the Dallas Cowboys team that is supposed to be good every year. So 2.5 against the Eagles. Eagles are not world beaters. Their defense looked bad on that last drive. Uh, no AJ Brown potentially looking like probably no AJ Brown. I just don't think that that bodes well for the Eagles. I think that the Saints are going to keep this train rolling. That high scoring offense is going to keep going. We got vintage Alvin Kamara last week, and I saw something funny. I saw a TikTok about Derek Carr in election years, and he looks like an MVP in election cycle years. So I'm gonna ride that train. I like the field goal win. Give me the Saints.
Yeah, I love this pick as well here too. There's another thing here. Philly on the short week, going on the road. And you gotta feel like there might be a little like shell shock after the way they blew that game last week. And if Saquon holds that pass or 2-0, but big difference here. No AJ Brown could be a little crazy. So where you going with pick three?
Pick three. I'm coming back to New York. I got the Bills -5.5 over the Jags. Monday night game. The pseudo bye week for the Bills coming off of the long week. Jags offense really can't get much going. I like Brian Thomas a lot. I like I don't really like Gabe Davis, but he has the potential to have, bigger games. Christian Kirk has been non-existent. Travis Etienne is fine. Trevor Lawrence he was 14 for 30 in the last game, 200 yards or so. Like I don't know. I don't see it over there. I think Josh Allen looks like an MVP candidate. James Cook went off for 3 touchdowns last week. That Wombo combo is going to be too much for Jacksonville. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, there's something off in Jacksonville this year. It just feels like the vibes are not there, and I feel like they never recovered from the finish to last season. So that's something like I can see, especially going up to Buffalo on a Monday night. That's not fun.
Not fun at all. And if you're giving me 5.5 points, I'll take the Bills to win by 6+.
All right, so you're on the board now. I'm going to start my picks off here. Pick number one. This is my best bet of the week here. I love the Seahawks laying 4.5 at home against the Dolphins here, and obviously we saw it happen with Tua on Thursday night. He's on IR now. He's out for 4 games. Skylar Thompson's the backup now. They cut Mike White. First game going out to Seattle. Not going to be fun out there with the 12th man. They have Raheem Mostert banged up. Chan is injury prone. Seattle's a solid team, and they're very good in that building here. I think this is a rude awakening for the Dolphins here. I think they get blown out of the building here. I think this is a double-digit win for the Seattle's. I'll lay the 4.5 happily.
Yep, absolutely. Seattle's very tough at home. It's really hard to go out there and beat them in their own stadium. Again, 12th man, like you said. Skylar Thompson I, I don't know how he's on an NFL roster. He doesn't look like he belongs out there at all. I saw that the Dolphins picked up Tyler Huntley
Yeah.
off the Ravens practice squad, so I wonder how long it's going to take for him to get up to speed and start games over there because Thompson's not long for that Miami Dolphin team.
Yeah, that's pick one for me. Pick two, I'm going back to the Colts. They're laying a point at home against the Bears, and the Bears have not looked that good over the first 2 weeks. They only won week one because Tennessee just gifted them the game with some very sloppy plays. Mo Levis, they get pushed around, demolished on the offensive line by the Texans week two. And this spot here, if not now for the Colts, when? I just look at this game here, like they have had opportunities to prove themselves. They should have beaten the Texans week one at opportunities. They got manhandled on the ground by Green Bay in week two. I feel like the spot here where they just pin their ears back after Caleb Williams. I think I'm laying ones is basically a pick. I think the Colts win that football game, so I'll take the pick. The Colts there, pick two.
It is a pick 'em, and unfortunately, I think that this is going to go either way. I actually like the Bears in this game. I like Caleb Williams against that run defense of Indy. I think that they're going to get it going on the ground. Again, a pick 'em game, toss up, coin flip, whatever you want to call it. I like the Bears a little bit better, but if you like the Colts, pick them.
All right, it's pick two here. And pick three, last pick of the week. I'm going to Monday night. I'm going to the other game, though. I'm going to take the Bengals laying the 7.5 against the Commanders here. I think something clicked for Cincinnati last week. Even without T. Higgins, they see the Chiefs. They seem to get their game back up here. They're a controversial PI call away from winning that game. They're 0-2, come home against a Washington team that has not looked very good. They have struggled defensively at points. Jaden Daniels move the ball so you can get in the end zone against the Giant defense, which got forced by Sam Darnold week one. Now you're going home. You're coming to Cincinnati, 0-2 Bengals team. This team starts slow. It flips the switch. I think the switch is flipped. They know they have to get their season going. They put up a big statement Monday night. I think they cover this easily. Give me the Bengals pick three.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I think that they're going to get Jamar Chase worked into the offense more. Waiver wire darling for week 2. Mike Gesicki got 9 targets last week. I think that they're going to keep on peppering him the ball a little bit, especially with the absence of T. Higgins. The defense is going to handle that Commanders offense very, very well. It's going to be fine. Yeah, I like that. I like that 7.5.
All right, so to reset the picks of the week, Mike has gone with the Bills on Monday night, laying 5.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Saints laying 2.5 at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Bucks laying 6.5 at home against the hapless Broncos. My picks: the Seahawks laying 4.5 at home against Skylar Thompson, the Dolphins. The Colts laying 1 at home against Chicago, and the Bengals laying 7.5 in the other Monday night game against the Washington Commanders. Those are your picks for week 3 here on the podcast. And coming up next week, a Blast from the Passer podcast listeners, one of the new hosts on the Starting Up podcast, the great Will Smith, is coming here to do picks week.
I hope he loses all 3.
Yeah, Will's not been on for a few years, and those of you who are away are not in on the joke here. This guy is actually named Will Smith. He is not the actor or the catcher on the Dodgers, or the left-hand reliever who goes everywhere to win the World Series.
Yeah. He's just our enemy in softball. Friend in real life, enemy in softball.
Yep, and he's a big Cowboy fan with the Cowboys Giants Thursday night next week. Figure that's a good time to pop him up here. So, Mike, thanks for all the time today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.